Hello and welcome to Miniature Elves. My name is Stuart and welcome to a quick unboxing and review of Warlord Games' Commanders for their Epic Battles Waterloo range. And now our three boxes, British and Allied, French and Prussian. Now these are currently on pre-order. I pre-ordered them and these are mine, but Warlord Games very kindly sent me my order a little bit early so I could do a review and get it out to you guys. So I'm going to pop the cellophane off these and we'll look at each box in turn. So here we are, let's start with the British. So a nice little, well presented, almost tarot card sized box I suppose. Nice little cute thing. And in this box we have a British cavalry commander, so a sort of generic commander, Picton, Wellington himself, Prince of Orange and Uxbridge. And then inside the box we have a plastic blister to keep your models nice and safe, and then you've got your miniatures on the inside. Now these are the Warlord resin, or Cyocast, I believe is the official term, I may be wrong. So it's that slightly bendy resin. It's not always that popular with people. I'm not a huge fan of it, if I'm honest with you, but when the casts are good and they're crisp and clean and they don't require much cleanup, it's absolutely fine. It's when you have an awful lot of mould lines in bad places and heavy build-up of flash and things, then it can be quite difficult to clean up because a file doesn't work very well on it. It tends to never go smooth and you just sort of generate sort of rough resin, and sometimes cleaning bits off the bendy swords and definitely banner poles can be a pain. But these overall look pretty clean, not much to remove, and I don't see it being an issue, especially when it's just a handful of miniatures. I remember I had the special edition commanders with the American Civil War epic set, and they were originally in this resin and they were absolutely fine. The banner pole was a little bit hard on the banner bearer, but other than that they were fine. But let's have a closer look anyway. So here's your cavalry commander, which is the most generic one. Very little to clean off, minimal mould lines, a couple of little bits that need to be sliced off. My tip would be try not to use a file, try to use a sharp blade or the mould line removing tool that you can get from Games Workshop. I think Army Paints do one as well. They are actually quite handy. Now, in terms of the quality of the sculpt, it looks pretty good, to be honest with you. It looks in line with all of the other things they've done, fits the range very well, very good detailed face and good character. If you're a fan of the range, and the aesthetics, you'll like them. And here's Picton. Oh, the face is fantastic on him. I really like that. Really characterful. It's going to be fun painting these. Again, not much to clean off. A little bit on the horse's nose will snip off quite easily. I'm quite relieved actually. They look pretty well cast. Hopefully they remain that way sort of in the future when there's been lots and lots of runs of these, but at the moment every single one of these looks like it's not going to take too much work to clean up at all, and that problem that you get with this kind of cheaper resin, and it's a good business decision, I get why they do it, but the problems that you can get with this isn't really going to show up in this set, so I wouldn't have any concerns about it whatsoever. So here, this is the Prince of Orange, and again very little to clean up, and his face is fantastic. I'm really looking forward to painting these. They should paint up very well using the method that I do, and I think they're going to look very impressive on the tabletop. It's going to be some fun making command stands out of these for sure. Yeah, very cool. And the horses look pretty good. They're definitely Warlord's epic style horses. Look like they're quite big butts on them, but I'm no expert on horses really. They seem right enough for me. I know a few people have commented they look a little bit muscly in the leg, and I can see where they're coming from. It's definitely a style there, but it doesn't. It's one of those things that didn't stand out too much until it's been pointed out to you. But yeah, pretty cool. So next up we have Uxbridge. He's got a very handsome moustache on him again. Very little to clean up that I can see. A bit on the end of the sword, which will trim off very nicely with the blade. A little bit on the hooves. But there's no really strong mould line. There's a thin one, but it should scrape off fairly easily. And for people that don't remove all mould lines, you're probably going to get away with just trimming off the flash. But Yeah, I like them. I am a fan of these sculpts, should come as no surprise to you if you've watched the channel before. But I am free to review them as I want. As I've already mentioned, these are mine. I purchased these. I've just been sent them a little bit earlier. So I like this range. My biggest concern was the material, and they're meeting expectations in terms of the quality. So no real concerns at all. And the man himself, well, depending on your perspective, but for this box anyway, Wellington. And yeah, again, he's got absolutely fantastic facial features. I think the proportions on the men themselves are absolutely brilliant, and that's one of the things that really drew me to this range originally, was the quality of the sculpts of the standard men. I just really liked the way they looked, the proportions, the quality of the faces and hands and things. This made me think of larger scale miniatures, if I'm honest with you. Again, not too much to clean up at the bottom of the horse's tail there, but nothing that alarms me, nothing that scares me, nothing I got off the face or anything like that. So next up we have the French commanders, again same size box and everything, and we have Kellerman, d'Erlon, Bonaparte himself, Ney, and then a generic cuirassier commander. Much like the British, I don't see anything that sort of jumps out at me as concerning in terms of flash removal. There's a bit of a chunk of a gate remaining on that tail, but this is all, you know, stuff you expect as a hobbyist. I can't see any glaring miscasts or anything like that. About the same level, maybe a tiny bit more in terms of mould lines on a couple of them, but overall pretty good. So we'll start with a generic cuirassier commander. That's the one with the kind of bit of gate remaining. Again, once you've removed it, it will need a little bit, because of the positioning of it, it's on the top there, it will need a little bit of filing and carving, which could be a pain, maybe a little bit of green stuffing, but it's really not the end of the world. At least it's not on the actual rider himself, on his face or something like that, of which he himself looks very, very good. Much like the rest, pretty crisp detail, and in line with the same quality as all the rest, which is, in my opinion, pretty good. Next up we have Kellerman with his sword raised there. Again, he's pretty clean. You've got the obvious bit of flash on the end of the sword, again easy to remove. The face looks excellent, can't see any glaring mould lines, details really crisp, and yeah, that face is really very good. These are going to be good and fun to paint, I believe. So d'Erlon, this will be a fella that I'll be focusing on for my part of the Waterloo project. We'll see whether that adjusts now with the release of the new book, but yeah, he looks pretty good as well. Really impressed with the quality of the faces and hands and the general proportion of the bodies of the actual men themselves. A little bit of flash there on the bottom of the horse's legs, but again, nothing that really concerns me at this stage. Marshal Ney. I love the pose here. Very cool, very regal. And the face looks pretty good there. I think it'll take a wash, well, maybe a little bit of cleanup on the one side there, but again, nothing that really stands out. And the pose looks fantastic, and the rest of the model's really, really clean. So these are pretty good so far. And of course, Napoleon. Now this is really cool. Face is really, really good. I hope you can see that on the camera. I'm not zoomed in too far. I don't have a great macro lens on this, and while I can zoom in more, it becomes a lot harder to focus. But he is very nice, especially Napoleon himself. As I think I'm kind of 9 out of 10 on the sculpts for the men, and the horses for me are sort of 7 out of 10s. But that's just that's just our personal opinion on it. But they are really, really good. And your eyes focused on the rider, really, not so much the horses. You really have to start looking really closely and start getting picky. But he is very, very cool. And then last up, or are they late, the Prussian commanders. So again, same presentation of box, and in this set we have Perch, von Zieten, von Bülow, and Gneisenauer and Blucher himself. Now, I haven't said all these boxes are recommended retail price of £12, so I'm sure at your third-party retailers, if you choose to go that route, you can get them even cheaper. But I think £12 for 5 good quality character sculpts is actually pretty good. I'm sure some people will disagree with me and think they all should be £1 each or something like that. But you know, we all have our own differences and place different values on things. But for character models, I think these are pretty good. And while some people would maybe prefer them in metal, the cost of metal at the moment is really high, and I think that them able to do them in this material is, as I said, is I keep talking about it because I know it's often a thing for me, and I know it's a thing for many shoppers of Warlord Games. They don't like this material, and I have seen some poor examples of it, especially in some 28mm models. But in this sort of application, in this context, it works absolutely fine, and I'd probably rather have this than metal. And these would be really nice and easy to, you know, you could pick up separate packs here and quite easily convert these into other generic commanders, which is something I may well be looking to do, especially as I think they're a pretty reasonable price. But let's have a closer look at them. Here's Perch, so excuse any pronunciation. He's much like the fact this horse looks a little bit slimmer than some of the others. Again, very consistent with the quality of the British and French. And I think the character's really in the man themselves. There's a bit of a mould line down towards the front of the face on that one, so you have to be careful because you start finding there this material, as I said, will rough up. But again, nothing I think, as long as you're careful and use a sharp blade, nothing will be a problem at all. And I think these look fantastic when they're painted. So he's pretty cool. Von Zieten. Quite a dynamic pose there. His face looks good. Very little flash. Trim that off the blade very, very quickly, and you could get away with leaving it if you wanted to. But I think these will clean up very, very quickly. Overall, a nice little character sculpt. Gneisenauer. Slightly different style of pose, but the detail is very crisp down the front of him there. Even the folds on his trousers. I think he's holding a map or something there. This is just a lovely model. Let's make some nice dioramas out of these as well. I'm definitely going to be tempted to pick up second sets of these for doing separate things with them. Either conversions or just to do little vignettes and things, because they are very, very fun. And Von Bülow. More of the same really, loads of character. I really like this Prussian set actually, these are really nice. If I was just picking them just purely on models to paint, I think some of my favourites are in this pack. Very cool. My Russians will probably sit in the boxes for quite a while there, because I've definitely got a lot to paint before I get there. A little bit more of a visible mould line on that one. But again, should be easy to scrape off with a sharp blade, even with this softer material. And last but definitely not least, we have Blucher himself. And that face is brilliant. Look at those moustaches. Very, very cool. Well, I'm excited by these, if you can't tell. Thank you, Warlord Games, for sending them over to me early. It's nice to get a close look at them and you know, and share it with you guys. I know Leon, so Leon T66 channel. I know Leon's already had his hands on the British and the French, I believe. He had those, and he did put a video up a few days ago at the time I'm recording this, so you may have already seen these. And he's actually painted some of them as well, so I'll definitely head over there. I'll pop a link in the show description. Head over to his channel. It's an awesome channel anyway, and he does some fantastic painting on the epic British that he's been doing, and really, really nice, so it's well worth a look if you haven't come across him before. But he's already, as I said, already reviewed them, so you may have seen some of these before. The Prussians, I think, will be new to you. I haven't seen anyone else online with them, but they may well be out there. but it was nice to get them, get you guys a bit of a review a few weeks before they come out. We still don't know exactly what time in July they'll come up, so they could be out next week anyway. I don't know. But anyway, and I've also, I suppose, related to this, I think in the comments on the announcement video from Warlord Games on Facebook, Paul Sawyer, I think, alluded to a similar thing happening actually for the American Civil War Epic release as well. So packs of 5 for each side. So whether they'll be, I imagine there'll be additions to the ones they've already released. So I mean, it's nice to see a few more American Civil War generals for those of you who like that period as well, and are using Epic for more than one period. But anyway, thanks very much for watching. Hopefully you found this useful. I will be painting up some of these soon. I'm going to look to do a couple of painting tutorials actually, and sort of talk you through how I approach the a sort of a character model. It's not an awful lot more painting work compared to what I do for normal, but just little extra things I do, and maybe their whole command base and how I go about approaching that. So let me know who you'd like to see. I won't definitely do it, but comments below, give me your vote. Picking someone like Napoleon or Wellington, that's obviously, really tempting. I really like the Picton model. I really like the Gneisenau model and the Von Bülow as well. So it's probably going to be British or French, to be honest with you, just because I can use them earlier in my own armies. But I will likely do more than one as well. So pop in the comments below which one you'd like to see painted as a bit of a tutorial. And if enough people all vote the same person, I may well be swung that way. If it's a bit of a mix and match, I might just pick one anyway. But thank you for watching. Watch out very, very soon for a quick review and flip through of the 100 Days campaign book. That will be coming your way very shortly after this one. If you are new to the channel, do check out the other content on there. There's there's over 100 videos on there now. Lots and lots of epic scale content, be that American Civil War or the Waterloo campaign stuff. There's lots on there. So if it's your thing and you found the channel because you're interested in this game, go and check it out if you haven't already. Give us a subscription if you haven't already. It does help the channel. And if you've liked the video, give us a like. Anyway, thank you very much. Take care, and I'll catch you soon.